Howdy there, folks. My name is Joniki, and over here we have the lovely Madame Bathsheba, and together we are Catamancy Tarot. So today I wanted to hop on to join this community tag going around. This is a tag that was started by a bunch of tarot friends on Discord, and it is the hashtag. What's the hashtag again? It's the hashtag One Deck Gone Wild. And so the idea behind it is to kind of do a deep dive into one deck, and they've come up with 30-something different questions, and you're invited to kind of, it's like a choose your own adventure style thing where you pick which questions you want to dive into. And I've really been enjoying the ones I've seen already, and I wanted to join in. I have a problem, and the problem is I'm really indecisive, and I can't for the life of me make up my mind on which deck to choose to do a deep dive on. So I thought, in the spirit of the choose your own adventure quality of this tag, I've picked out 6 decks, and we're gonna roll some dice, and we're gonna eliminate it down to one deck, and then I'll do a deep dive on it. So here we go. I'm gonna let's take a look on the ones I'm thinking of. Here we go. Okay, guys. I clearly can't make up my mind at all. So these are the 6 decks I'm thinking about doing. Spolia is my all-time number one favorite deck, and I know Meg at Rose Honey Ritual already did a deep dive on this deck, but I watched it and I loved it, but I also feel like I have a completely different experience of using this deck than she does, so I thought it might be interesting to kind of like also do a deep dive, and then you can see some of like the differences in using it, so I thought that might be fun. But then I also didn't want to be a copycat, so I was like, what else can I do? The Agorov Tarot is one of my all-time favorite vintage decks. It's a Russian deck, kind of folklore-y. I love it a lot. And it's got some really fun little critters in it, so I thought it would be a fun one to do. And then there's the Ritual Tarot, which was one of my favorite decks from last year. And it's one of the ones I've traveled with a lot, so I know it quite well. It's also the deck that's been kind of like at this the eye of the storm of recent TarotTube debates. So I feel like it's a little bit of a controversial deck now for some reason. So maybe this one, but maybe not. And then another one of my all-time favorite decks is the Kazanlar Tarot. But I'm not sure about this one because, and I'm curious about your guys' thoughts on this. It's a very rare out-of-print deck. It's really hard to find. It took me years and years to get it, but I love it so much. And so I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on, like, do you like seeing out-of-print decks on channels? Would you rather not? Is it fun to see a deep dive on a deck because it might be like there's fewer opportunities to actually get to work with it, so it might be fun to kind of like see what it's like, or maybe you don't want to see it at all. So I'm not sure about that one. And then Daydreaming in C2 is one of my newest collage decks, so I'm still getting to know it, so I thought it would be a fun way to kind of like get to know this deck. And then also the William Blake Tarot is like my new favorite mass market deck, and I thought that it might be good to have a mass market deck in the mix. And it's got some really fun cards, and so those are my 6. So what we're gonna do is I've got my D&D dice here. So I'm gonna get out my D6. Here we go. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do this elimination style. So as you can see, I've got little dice numbers on each of these. So every time I roll this dice, I'm going to take one away until there's one left standing. Okay, I'm nervous. Are you guys nervous? I'm nervous. Ooh, 6 eliminated. Goodbye, William Blake. No longer an option. Here we go, rolling the dice. Oh, I'm nervous. Ooh, number 4, no Kazanlar. Alas, I love it so much. Maybe another time. Okay, rolling the dice. Rolling the dice. Oh, 6 again. Reroll. 5. No daydreaming in C2. We've eliminated the bottom row. So it's going to be one of these guys. Oh boy. Not the Ritual Tarot. Not today. Okay, we're down to 2. We're down to 2. So, we're rolling the dice. That was a 3. That was another 3. Oh, I keep rolling 3s. 3 3s in a row. Oh, we eliminated Spolia. That means that our deep dive is going to be on the Agorov Tarot. I'm not mad about that. I'm actually quite excited. Okay, cool. Let's do it. Let's dive in. All right, friends. So here we are with the Agorov Tarot. This is a deck printed by Piatnik from 1992, and it is a very cool old Russian a deck made by a Alexander Agorov. So it has a real kind of old school Russian vibe, and I love it a lot. It's one of my favorite vintage decks ever. So here we are with a list of all of the questions, and I picked out 22 of them because 22 feels like an appropriate tarot number, right? So why did you pick this deck? Well, we saw my choice. I just showed you guys my choice mechanism. But I picked this deck because I think it's really beautiful, and I think it's very folksy, and I love the minors a lot in this deck, and it has some of my all-time favorite majors too. So, and I don't, it's not a deck you see often, so I thought I would give this deck some love. Also, I know that with this tag, it's also totally chill to make, multiple deep dives on multiple decks. So if there's one deck that you were rooting for that didn't get selected, let me know, and maybe I'll do a deep dive on that one too. But we'll just move on with this one. So here we are, favorite set of minors. This was kind of like a fun challenge. So you got to sort them all out, figure out which ones are your favorites. And I think my favorites are actually the 7s. So we've got the 7 of Wands, 7 of Cups. I love those little kitty cats there. 7 of Coins, which is really quite lovely. And then the 7 of Swords with the kind of a siren song going on. So together, I thought they all were very cool. I love the dragon critter going on here. I like the mermaid. I like the little kitty cats. I love the color scheme in this deck. The way each of the suits have these different sort of color codings, and the cups have this beautiful lime green. I'm all about a punchy lime green. But I would also say runners up. Runners up are kind of the aces. The aces in this deck I feel are really good, really quite beautiful, and they set the tone for the rest of the cards. And then also honorable mentions are the knights in this deck. So I know the knights are court cards, but I still think they're really cool. I think there's some of the best horses. Look at them. Look at those horses. Do you guys know which one's my favorite? The lime green one, obviously. So good. So those are my favorite minors. The next question is, what card reminds you to relax? And I think I think we're gonna look in the fours here. And this is the Four of Swords, which I think is like the most obvious choice for a card telling you to relax. But I just love this card because I'm not quite sure what's going on. It almost looks like he's in some kind of like it almost looks like he's just in this like slide. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what I'm seeing here, but I know he looks really cozy. And it looks lovely. So that's my answer for that one. Favorite representation of the color blue. There's a lot of fun blues in this deck. There aren't any like deep dark blues, but I think for my favorite blue, I'm gonna say the Ace of Cups, because the water here is this like nice like teal color, and it just looks so good against all of these others, and you have this beautiful little dove. Ah, so good. My other favorite blue would probably have to be from the Moon card. I just love, to me, the blues really pop in this deck because of the other colors it's with. So I love this maroon. I love all of the colors in this Moon card. I think it's really, really beautiful. So these are my favorite blues in the deck. The next question we've got here is favorite representation of a particular card. So I think this deck has one of my all-time favorite devil cards. And here he is. Look at that hot pink throne. A nice set of hairy green tits. So good. The wings. I love the like purple anemone creatures that are winding around our couple here. Yeah, I think this is like one of my all-time favorite devil cards. Full stop. I just think it's so beautiful. So that's my favorite representation of a single card, I think. Like, I guess, I don't know. It's hard to like pick an all-time favorite devil card, but this is definitely up there. Let's see. Favorite animal represented? So there's some really good critters in this deck, which is another reason I wanted to show you guys. Like, this is a really good critter. That's a great bird. This is a good critter. I'm not sure what kind of animal. We've got our little kitty cats there. But we also had those like brightly colored horses, if you recall. But the critter that takes the cake, my favorite critter in this deck, is on the death card. Look at that horse. What is he? I don't know. It looks like he only has 3 legs. I don't know what happened to his other back leg. Maybe this like hand from the green abyss came up and snatched his other leg. Maybe that's why he's letting out a yelp. I don't know, but look at his spots. Look, he has all the little spots on his curly cute tail, and they go up his spine. And then they've got his little mohawk. And look at his weird toes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, favorite critter for sure. I love it so much. I mean, this death card is another like all the way up there favorite death card. It's just so good. I love this steed, this Death's Mount. So good. Okay. So I've done that one. If you made this deck a meal, I think, I gotta go with Russian peasant food. So I'm gonna say a nice bowl of borscht. I'm a vegetarian, but I've made some really good vegetarian borscht, like beet stew in the past. I think that's the call here. I think that's it, right? Maybe with some hearty bread. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Yeah, for sure. Okay. If you were to travel with it, where would you go? And then the following question, where does the deck want to go? And I think the answer for this one is the same for both. I think this deck wants to go to Russia, right? And I actually lived in like northern Finland for a year in high school, but I never made it out all the way across the border to Russia. Um, but one of the places I have always wanted to go is the like in Siberia in the Lake Baikal region, like do the Trans-Siberia Rail adventure. And Lake Baikal is one of the largest lakes, and it has this like really unique ecosystem, and it's in a region called Buryatia. And I'm an anthropologist, and I've read a lot about Buryat shamanism. And there's also in that region there's have you guys ever seen pictures of the like Russian old believers? And their houses are so beautiful. I think those are the houses that this deck would want to live in. I'll see if I can put in a picture of what I'm talking about. But I think it was a thing where there was a split in the Russian church a long time ago, and then these old believers were kind of like exiled into Siberia, and they've kept a form of old Russian Orthodox Christianity. And they have beautiful homes. So I think that's where this deck and I would want to go together. So next question. Something you would change about this deck? Yes, I would say that Piotnik would need to reprint this deck, please. I think people would really love it if it was more available. And also, I hate Piotnik's cardstock. Piotnik has really cardboardy, really stiff, really thick cardstock. So it's not a joy to shuffle or use. You can see my copy has some like chipping on the edges because of the type of cardstock. So I would say better cardstock, put it back in print. I think there's a few, there might be, yeah, the other thing I would change is this typo. Strength, but I don't mind it too much. I think it's kind of funny. They even, in the deck, I think I still have it. Let's see. I think they put in a thing here that said, Dear user, this tarot contains a minor artfully concealed printing error. We will not disclose whether it is in the accompanying booklet or in the cards themselves. Anybody who writes to us to identify the error will receive an attractive free gift. Now, I've never wrote into Austria to tell them that I found the error, but I thought that was so funny. And yeah, I don't know, maybe I will write to Piotnik and request a free gift, and also say, please put this back in print, and also please change your cardstock. What do you guys think? I don't know. Okay, moving along. Let's see here. What is this deck's favorite book? So I think this deck is a lover of great Russian literature. I'm thinking like Dostoevsky, right? Let me get it here. I think this is this deck's favorite book. The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky. I think there's something about the like the intimate portrayal of like daily life in Russia during this time period, I think that's what this deck likes. One of the things I like about it is it's just it feels very, like, especially here, like you see that little village hamlet kind of style. So I think, and we've got the sort of, religious figure here. Totally, right? Favorite book. I'm going to stand by it. I'm going to stand by it. So next question here. Let's look on my list. Which card would you hang in part of your house? I think the card that I would hang is from the majors, and I think I want. Oh, it's over here. It's over here. These are my favorite majors, but I think I want this moon card hung up, and I would hang this in my office. I have a print of the death card from Spolia. There's a few other like tarot cards that I would love to have prints of. Like I would love to have a print from Tierra May of her lover's card from the Ritual Tarot. This is another one I would have a print of. And this is also the deck that I've thought the most about getting a tattoo from. I don't have a tarot tattoo, and this is not one of the questions, but I'm kind of like adding it in here. But this is the deck that I thought, like, if I were to get a tarot tattoo, these are the images that I would be most inspired by. I love the weird critters. I like the colors. I love the kind of like the take on the majors. They're still kind of very recognizable, but they're not as, super tropey as, the RWS. And so these are the images that I've thought about, like cobbling together a little half sleeve from these critters. What do you guys think? Otherwise, this is the print that'll be in my office. Okay, moving on here in this list of questions. What card would be your pet? And I think the card that would be my pet are these tiny little cute cats. One of them looks a little bit grumpy, but that's okay. And this one just looks like he wants to hang out and wants to help a little bit. Help this person dream of other cups. So those are the pets. Those are the pets in the deck. What would this deck collect? I think this deck would collect little Matryoshka dolls. You know those Russian nesting dolls? I think that's what this deck would like to collect. I think there's here there's a little treasure box, a depiction of collecting. So maybe it would have a nice little chest of Matryoshka dolls. Or I think the other thing this deck would collect is those Russian lacquered boxes. I think it's called Palek. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this is the only one I have. But this style lacquered box, I think this deck would dig it. It'd be cool to get like a perfect size Palek box to keep this deck in. Oh, that would be so cool. That deck would like that so much. I also think it would be really cool to get like tattoos in the Palek style, so have parts blacked out with like poppy colors. I think that would be fun. So that's the answer for that question. What would it collect? And then let's see on our list here. This next one is bed, wed, behead, which means we've got to do a big shuffle. So I guess that means you guys get to see how this deck shuffles. And the answer is not very well. It's quite thick, and the cards are just kind of, just kind of at my limit here. Does okay. But this is the, I don't know, this feels a little silly to do with this deck. But fun. We'll see who my, peasant betrothed will be. Also, I love these backs, right? I think the backs are beautiful. All right, I'll just do another one here. Okay, here we go. Let's see what our lineup is. Let's see who's in our lineup. So we have got, oh, the Two of Cups. That's quite sweet. Then we've got, oh, a Page of Coins. Oh, and then we've got our sleeping man. Oh, let's see here. So, this older gentleman looks quite cozy and looks like he's got a lot of things in life figured out. One of the things I think is so interesting about this Page of Coins is that the Page of Coins is like quite elderly, also barefoot. So the idea that, a page is usually someone younger. So maybe it's this guy who's older, still has a youthful spirit, or maybe not. I don't know. I don't know about this man. But these guys look quite fun. What do you think? Should I join them? What I think I'm going to do is really unfortunate here. I think I'm going to bed the Two of Cups. That looks like a good old time, a little frolicking in some fields. Sure thing. I think I'm going to, unfortunately, behead this older pauper. Sorry, man. I don't know. Maybe that looks badly on me. I don't want to criminalize the poor. But that's that. And I'm gonna marry this sleepy old man. Cause he looks like someone who would be quite, fours are a stable number. He looks like someone who could be a fun person to retire with. What do you guys think? That was very silly. Very silly. Okay, next question. What is this deck's favorite scent? Oh boy, that's a hard one. I feel like this deck would have a little bit of a outdoorsy scent. Maybe some like cedar in there, but also I think it's a little bit like traditional religious smells. What kind of incense do Orthodox Russian churches use? I don't know. Maybe like frankincense, maybe some like darker woody tones, a little bit of spices in there, maybe a little bit of jasmine. I don't know, and some like really earthy undernotes. That's what I'm thinking. Let's see here. What is the deck? How old does the deck believe it is? Okay, so one of my favorite things about this deck is that it's from 1992, which is the year I was born. So really, me and this deck are the same age. So we were really meant to be all along. Totally. But I think this deck thinks it's, maybe 200 years old. My Russian history isn't quite up to par here, but I think it's also like working age, like the age where you're young enough to take to the fields. I think this, if this deck was a person, they would have like very calloused hands from a honest day's work. That's what I would think. That's what I would think. That's a little bit all over the place, but that's all right. We're just having a little bit of fun here. Okay, the next question is most and least favorite card in the deck. And I wanted to talk about this prompt because I don't have a least favorite card in this deck. One of the things I like the most about this deck is with some decks, they're really uneven in that, like, I super duper love, like, a dozen cards, and then there'll be a dozen cards that I hate, that I really don't like. But this deck, I think, is all, like, I don't hate any of the cards, and that's really quite rare. Or to, like, not have I think all of them are, like, quite well done. And I do like some more than others, but there's none that, another one of these questions are there any, like, outliers? And I don't think there are. Like, all of the cards are done stylistically really well. And I don't think there's any, like, outliers or any least favorite cards in this deck, which I think is, like, quite unique about this deck. Which card gives a unique spin? Oh, now the deck's all jumbled up, and I'm not going to be able to find the ones I want to talk about. But there's quite a few. Here we go. This is one. Like, this is the minors are still kind of very Rider-Waite-Smithy, but there's a lot of minors that kind of just, like, take the meaning and just put a different spin on it. Like this archer kind of like hitting all of the targets for the 8 of coins. That feels very 8 of coinsy, but not in the same way of like making something, but in this sense of like doing repetitive practice. Let's see here. Let's see if there's any. Oh, I think I missed a question somewhere about what card makes you feel nostalgic. And my answer was going to be this one. Look, they're just having like a fancy Russian tea, and I don't know if you've ever went to a fancy tea house. That's what this makes me think of. A little bit of nostalgia for that. Yeah. So let's see here. We've also got a visitor here. Madame Bathsheba has chosen to join us. So that's my nostalgic card. And then another question here. Oh, hello. Hello, have you come to investigate? What deck is this deck's favorite deck? I think this deck's favorite deck is another, excuse me, cat, excuse me, is another Russian deck. This is a majors only deck that I picked up on my recent trip to France. So it's a French deck, and it's a majors only deck, but it was painted by a Russian painter. What was her name? Giselle Flavier's Oracle, The Key of Life. And so if we take a look here, so So there was a Russian painter who fled Russia after the 1918 revolution, and she painted in Paris. And so it's I don't, the cat is like messing with all of my stuff here. Cat, you're in the way. We're looking at this deck's favorite deck, okay? But this is a majors only deck. It's painted again in a traditional style, and I think these decks would be best friends. I think another deck that would be friends with these guys is the Russian Tarot of St. Petersburg, which is all done in this style, right? But this deck is a little bit, it's a little bit esoteric. It's a little bit occult. She was a mystic, and this is one of my favorite majors only decks. I think it's quite beautiful. So I think that's what the Agorov Tarot's favorite tarot deck would be, is this little majors only number. What do you guys think? Right? I feel like the critters, we gotta do a comparison here. Like, take a look. Look at the critters here. Totally, right? Friends. Definitely. So that is this deck's favorite deck, and let's see if there's any questions left. So, I think the last question here is, what's the deck's favorite spread? I thought this was a fun question. I think this deck's favorite spread is, I think it likes to be used in like really big spreads. And there's one spread in particular that I learned from one of my tarot teachers that I like to use with this, called the pyramid spread. This is Naha from 22 Teachings. Big spread, which is I believe it's a 12 card spread, but it's one of these spreads. We'll just show you real quick. It's one of these big past, present, future style. Oh, can you even see all them? I don't think you can even see all them. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, it's a 12 card spread. And with the bottommost row representing the past, with this row kind of representing the present, yourself, and the outer world, and then this last row being kind of a narrative row of the next, kind of a look into the next five months or so, and kind of like read this top row directionally. She has a whole class on using this spread. I can also link it below if that's helpful to anyone. But I think this deck really shines in spreads where you can kind of like read directionally, and this is such like a storytelling type deck where you can kind of like really string a narrative together of one event to the next. And that's one of the things I really like about this deck. So that was my deep dive. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments if there's any other decks that you think would be fun to do a deep dive on, or if you've enjoyed this. And I will see you guys all next time. Bye for now.